This is the Oil Stream postgame show right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Tom Gazzola, Joaquin, Gage with you inside the EST studios. If you're watching, thank you for tuning in on our EST YouTube channel. If you're listening to the online audio stream, we appreciate it. You can join the conversation at 780. Oh, there we go. 780-218-9999. My YouTube is on. Yeah. Apologies for that. I'll turn it on to mute. The Oilers get absolutely destroyed in the season opener, and we're going to go through this. I have a couple things to say. I know you have a lot to say, and we know that you have a lot to say. So if you're joining us via the YouTube channel, hit us up on the nasty chat. It's buzzing. And then 780-218-9999. Thank you, Matthew Wannick and YouTube Trev, for the heads up on my audio being up. Okay. The Oilers lose 8-1 tonight. We're going to go into the scoring summary. We'll just start there. First period, 8:06 in, Connor Garland from Pettersson and Juleson, 1-0 Vancouver. Not long after, Brock Besser, his first of the year, 2-0 Vancouver at 11:27 from Miller and Di Giuseppe. Oh, we're going to talk about that one. Second period, 3-0 Vancouver. Besser's second of the night at 4:03 from Miller and Hronik. Besser with another one, the Hattie, to make it 4-0 at 7:30 from Pettersson and Kuzmenko, power play goal. The Oilers cut the lead. This is as close as they will get, 4-1. Leon Draisaitl on the power play from McDavid and Bouchard at 8:20. Nice goal by him from an impossible angle, but that's how he does it. However, the Canucks would add to their lead, restore the 4-goal lead. Elias Pettersson, untouched, his first on the power play from Hughes and Miller, 5-1 going into the third period. Brock Besser, again, to make it 6-1 Vancouver at 5:43 from Miller and Hughes. For good measure, JT Miller gets in on the fun. 7-1 Vancouver at 6:56. Power play goal from Hughes and Pettersson. Dakota Joshua on an absolutely terrible goal that we will probably not discuss because it'll be moot point at that stage of the night. To make it 8-1 at 14:48. 8-1 is your final. The Oilers, when you look at their stat line, the power play goes 1 for 4, sure. The PK, 3 for 6. I take notes every game, Gager, as you've noted and noticed as we work together. The first thing I wrote was Van first shot comes just 4 minutes plus in. That's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, good 4 minutes and 15 seconds for the Oilers. Desharnais fights Joshua at center ice. Not bad. Good tilt, spirited. Edmonton, too cute on first power play opportunity. Then the wheels fell off.
Yeah, and I mean, the start was, I liked the start. Seeing Connor McDavid throw the body around and finish his checks, I'm like, okay, here we go. This is there's a page being turned with the Edmonton Oilers, and we were actually, Tommy, it was a lot of fun actually watching the game with you in the common area here. So it was yes. That was good because we could bounce ideas off, but. Like I said, that I think that first power play was a killer for the Edmonton Oilers. Coming off the season prior, having the greatest power play in the history of the game, I just think they've relied upon it and they've used it as a crutch, and it was just so ineffective trying to find the perfect play. It was a disaster. There was no urgency. Just a lackluster effort. I found myself as a former goalie feeling really bad for Jack Campbell because, to be honest, Tommy, I don't fault him for any of those goals. There was some lucky ones, but there are other great plays and not recognizing where the danger is in the defensive zone, yes. Just looking like rookie mistakes. That was, and I said it, that was a men's league hockey game there was a no-hitter. There was no physical play. They looked scared. I mean, the only people that were scared tonight were the Edmonton Oilers and Save On Foods, thinking they might have to cough up $1 million to Brock Besser.
Well, some lucky winner out there on the score and win. Okay, Jack Campbell, 4 goals on 16 shots. And you touched on it, Gager. You said, and I agree with you, some of those goals that he let in were not his fault. The Garland goal, that was a nice saucer pass. Garland trapped it, made a nice move, scored, got behind the D-man. Okay. The first Besser goal, that was a nice play after 2 saves by Campbell, right?
That was the third one. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
There was the good 2 saves by Campbell and a great play by Besser, like knocking it out and sticking with the play.
Well, you're right. That one was the third one. The first one was the snapshot.
A snapshot where
we have issues with this one.
I have tons of issues because you have every single Oiler looking at TJ Miller on his backhand against the wall. Like this, he is not a danger at this point, Tommy. There's no danger from there. The danger's coming from everywhere else on the ice and not recognizing one of the top goal scorers in the league. You possesses one of the best shots. Leaving him alone with time in the slot is just not recognizing who you're playing against. The point in the game where it's crucial to the attention to detail. Man, it's weird because this game needs to be looked over by the coaching staff and the tape and showing the mistakes that were made. But right after that, it's got to go right in the garbage, man. It's
going to be a miserable hour and 15-minute flight home to Edmonton tonight. And that Besser goal, the snapshot one, the problem I had with it, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Bouchard hears footsteps. Di Giuseppe, great forecheck all over Bouchard, but Bouchard had like an extra second to make a play. He doesn't. Has it stripped. Puck goes to Miller. Miller finds Besser, and then Besser snaps it home. And listen, Darnell Nurse did not have a good night. He had a terrible night, and he is a stick lengths away from Besser not getting in there. There were so many things, but it started with that.
So it started with bailing on the play initially, thinking you're going to get hit. It brings me back to the thing I said. It's a no-hitter. It's a physical game. The Oilers were not physical at all. They made the Vancouver Canucks look really good, and when you don't play a physical game against top players, it's going to be a rough night. I mean, we saw Elias Pettersson throw arguably the biggest hit of the game and just crushed Ceci. Are you telling me a guy that's like 170 pounds and
thick.
Railroads one of your biggest defensemen, that doesn't get your bench just completely fired up? I was we made jokes about the no pregame skate, and they weren't, but they, Tommy, they didn't look ready for this game from the drop of the puck. They I think to a point the Oilers thought maybe. Sometimes it's tough hearing how good you are after a while. And they've gone a month of sitting in Edmonton with people talking about Stanley Cup aspirations.
Right.
You still have to put a lot of work in. And to a man, they realize that. This game got away from them in a horrible way, and it's the first game of the year. And I know we're being quite harsh, but that's what happens when you get 4 passionate hockey guys in a room, I think, and watching a game and expecting a hard-nosed, solid performance battle with a team that you're going to have to battle throughout the year. Now, it's a full reset. And Matty Joaquin made a great point too, where maybe it's a complete reset where you might see Jack Campbell start fresh again. Okay, we're gonna forget that, treat it as game 9 of the preseason, and start the regular season with 81 games to go here.
The Oilers, not good when they open a season on the road, fall to 3-7-1. Usually they start the season at home. Okay, they lose in spectacular fashion. Okay. That's evident. And we get a text that comes into the text line. I'm going to read it, and I'm going to bounce it off of you, Gager. Cheese Whiz, great handle, by the way. Cheese Whiz says, enough with it's not his fault. Goalies get paid to make the big saves. Make a damn save. Well, and that's why we were going through the Jack Campbell goals against. There were a bunch of screens. Stuart Skinner fell victim to a bunch of screens as well. But at the point of the final few goals that went in on Skinner, nobody was engaged in the game. So when Cheese Whiz brings up a point, enough with it's not his fault. Make the damn save. That's why you pay him, and that's the line. What do you say?
Well, I look at the types of goals because there are points where there's nothing that the goalie can do. He's at the mercy of his team and his defensive structure. Yeah. If we want to break down, if we look at the first goal, Kulak makes a poor decision in trying to bat the puck off the air. Campbell actually makes quite a good move to it's so difficult with the speed of the player coming back against the grain the other way and just hitting the tip of his pad. Yeah, you'd like to see a save there.
Sure.
Like it's a great goal it's a great pass. It's a great play to pick up the puck, and another great play by Garland being able to raise the puck just over the pad at that point. Sometimes you have to tip your hat to the offensive player. That was a great goal. The second goal, Besser with the shot. Yeah, maybe you want a big save there, and I understand that. But you have a guy standing right in front of you that doesn't give you a chance to move out, get set, and see the puck. Mm-hmm. Like Jack Campbell didn't see that shot, and it's very difficult to get yourself, even with positioning, in a place where the puck's going to hit you, especially when you got a guy like Besser. When he gets it in that situation, he's probably putting it close to the inside of the post anyway, so your positioning has to be perfect. There weren't any squeakers. None of them went through Jack Campbell. He made multiple saves on the third goal before the third opportunity went in. The fourth one, I mean, the guy's trying to pass it to the point, hits your guy's shin pad in front and goes behind you. I mean, sometimes you're unlucky as a goaltender too. I just think that looking at all four goals that he did allow tonight, it's very tough to fault Jack Campbell on these. Maybe I can see the first one where he make a big save in especially at that time of the game. But no, this isn't on Jack Campbell at all.
780-218-9999. You can text us, or if you're watching us on YouTube, you can hit us up via the nasty chat. And this point was made by Christopher, and it was exactly what I wanted to lead into. Christopher said, was there any blue liner that wasn't terrible tonight? And in those 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th goals, screens in front of their own guys, whether it was Campbell or Skinner, not picking up guys. You and I were laughing at the Dakota Joshua goal because who was in front? Was it Miller who was in front? He was covered.
Yeah, but
Joshua wasn't. It was Broberg and Bouchard on that one.
When that happens, it does. When you look at that game it looked like there was a lack of communication with you didn't see. There were instances through preseason where I heard communication from D-man to D-man and certain things in the rink. You see Darnay pointing. You saw Darnell Nurse pointing. There was they went dark. They went silent. There wasn't any urgency in their own zone to recognize people. It became a puck-focused game. And look, I played hockey a long time. I know what that feeling is, where you're just trying to get things back, and you're so hyper-focused, trying to not let the bad things happen. But that's not the way to play hockey. You have to be active in your own zone, communicating, being closer to the guy that's the danger in your own zone, getting in the way of shots, not just screening the goalie, but making some blocks in those situations. Not a lot of positives that you can take into I don't think there's one, to tell you the truth, that maybe the Connor McDavid start with the hit, but after that, Tommy, there's nothing there.
One of I put away the notebook. I used it as a bit of a gag. If you were watching, I know if you're listening, I'm describing it to you, but I always jot notes down, right? And for me, it's just a memory thing. But I just wanted to make a point of being like, after the third bullet point, there was nothing
Yeah.
good. And one of those bullet points was sloppy power play, and that first one that they had. Like, we watched this Oilers team in preseason, and I know that those guys and what they did last year was absolutely amazing. I expect them to be much better in Game 2, obviously.
Yeah.
But a lot of the little plays that they had been working on that didn't quite connect in the preseason were not connecting tonight, and they continually tried to force it. When you see that, and then they actually do connect on the power play marker, and it's a play that they've used quite often to success.
Well, and what I was saying, and it's hard to critique the greatest power player.
Correct.
So full disclaimer on this, but watching this power play, I think the strength is their puck retrieval and their small zone play once the chaos is created. And I think that happens when initially the pucks are funneled towards the net. There's rebound chances, second chance opportunities, and then that skill takes over. Right. I mean, I was saying just get the puck to the net. I think it was Bouchard that completely flubbed the shot, but it went to the net and actually created chaos, which opened it up, and the Oilers scored the goal. So the old adage, it doesn't have to be a hard shot, just has to get through, and that was evident. And you could see what happens at that point. The Vancouver Canuck defenders start turning, trying to locate the puck. There's people moving. Oh, where do I got to go? Everything becomes disoriented. Right. That opens it up for players like Connor and Leon and Bouchard with their skill level, being able to find people at that point. And Leon Draisaitl, we've seen it close to 200 times, I guess, that shot that he's capable of doing so low to the goal line. That's when those things open up. They're not there right away. I'm sure they'll get back to that, a little bit of simplifying the power play and then letting the skill take over, because they just didn't have the juice to have it going right away, Tommy.
What a day to have your West Edmonton Mall autograph session tomorrow. That'll be interesting. Opening up with an 8-1 loss in Vancouver. I anticipate tomorrow's practice will be mandatory, unlike today's optional morning skate. And actually, Naughty Possum says, will there be a mandatory morning skate on Saturday? Joaquin Gage, what is your guess?
It's fun. I wish Cass was here, because we had an argument about this. Look, I came from a time where it was always mandatory. You didn't have optional morning skates, and unless there was multiple games back to back, or possibly later on in the season. I'm talking about January and things like that, right? So very puzzling that not 20 minutes, I don't think is going to tire out the legs. A couple 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s, regroup drills, a quick little meeting.
Yes.
Maybe, and just getting the guys on the ice I think there was always something to that for me, Tommy. And I was one of the types of guys that I liked going out for pregame skate. Just get out there. It was just quick line rushes, quick shots, feel my gear. If there was, I could find something if it didn't feel foreign putting it on later. To me personally, I like them. I think it's at this point of the year, I think there's something to having it. Yeah.
Gager, I know the game has evolved, the travel, all that is different now, but talking to the players, when I used to travel with the team, I would ask them, why do you like to get out there? Well, I like to wake up.
Yeah.
I like to wake up. It makes my mind snap back into focus. Like, it's a game day. This is the routine. So I floated that to you, and you were like, yep. And then you went over the same thing. Like, I feel my gear. I get out there. A meeting feels fresh. So I think there's merit to that. And with how comfortable is the term we used on the pregame show this start to the season is in terms of days between games, I personally don't see the harm in going out there for 20 minutes, like you said, doing a couple things.
I understand some of the philosophies of not having the pregame skate, but I think there's like I said, there's intangible factors in the pregame skate that I think aren't measured properly. And yeah, it was fun to get to the rink. It was part of my routine, and getting back to the hotel, getting your rest if you needed it. One of the reasons I hated afternoon games is because that routine was messed up. I didn't get that pregame skate.
Right. Okay, we knew these questions would be coming, and this is part of the fun of doing Oilers pre- and post-game, and what I learned really quickly 4 or 5 years ago when I started doing it. And we're going to get to them because these are genuine thoughts that Oilers fans have after a terrible opening night to the season where they get absolutely hammered 8-1. This comes in from Norman. Norman, I want to start by saying thank you for your text. Norman texts us, honest question, guys. Why are media and fans so hyped about this team? They did not address their biggest issue from last season, goals against, and added one player, Connor Brown. Why are they supposed to be so much better? That one's from Norman. Norman, thanks for the text. Gager?
I think they recognize that, Norman. They know the reasons why they weren't as successful last year. From hearing how the defensive structure has changed, going to that zone type of defense, we heard how Vegas kind of exploited that man-on-man, so there has been adjustments to that. To a point, you have to chalk this up as just it's a bad game by everyone. It's terrible.
Yeah.
This is it's an awful, awful game. These are smart hockey players. They know that there is a way to play to be successful in the NHL. It's just tonight. I really think the Edmonton Oilers, just hearing about how good they were possibly for the last month, thought that they could throw their sticks out there and this was going to be an easy ride. You hear about the turmoil. Sometimes those other things, those outside factors can galvanize a team like the Vancouver Canucks, right? So they hear the Garner stuff. And, we're not so far removed from a guy that scored a bunch of goals tonight wanting a trade out of Vancouver too, right? So, yeah, and, it's take it with a grain of salt. It's a very bad game.
Yep.
Horrible time to have it as the first one of the year. You would like to see at least an honest effort and a battle. Maybe they lose it at the end. Not losing a game where they were nowhere clear to being in it from the drop of the puck.
Greg via the nasty chat says, does anyone actually think the pregame skate is the reason they got shelled for 8? Come on. It's not the reason, but it could be a contributing factor on top of them not being ready by puck drop, on top of them maybe, like you said, hearing all this good stuff about themselves and just thinking that they could waltz in. It's a small piece of it, and we just thought it was interesting, so that's why we talked about it and why it might be beneficial. So, Greg, good point. Like, it's not the reason, but they certainly weren't engaged after 4 minutes into the game, where they finally gave up a shot, and then Vancouver just absolutely took over from there. Let's go into the inbox again. This one says, Dylan Holloway looked like his hand was hurt pretty bad. Does Lavoie get his shot? That's from Corey. We watched two teams ice 11-6 tonight.
Yeah.
And then we saw two guys run to the locker room, assuming they weren't feeling particularly great from the Vancouver Canucks. So,
well, we heard that the flu bug was going through the Vancouver Canucks. So I think that was the possibility with Thatcher Demko. Maybe he had a little bit of the flu, wasn't feeling well, battled through, had a relatively easy game, yes. I would say. Wasn't tested too much at all. But maybe it got to a point where, you know what, this game's in hand.
Yeah.
Let me go rest. I'm not feeling well. We saw that with a few other players. The one with Holloway is a little bit disturbing for me because that went right off the hand, and watching the replay of him going off the ice, you could see Coach Woodcroft looking down and kind of with a little bit of a wince. So fingers crossed he's okay. Because look, they're going to need him to play well this year.
Yep.
He's got to take a step. But with injuries do come opportunity. We'll see his prognosis, I guess, tomorrow.
Not a good sign. Tough kid, obviously, and not the way you want to see him start the season. Hopefully it's not as bad as it looked, but we shall find out maybe a little bit more. We will hear from Jay Woodcroft. Looks like we'll also hear from Darnell Nurse and Connor McDavid. We will have that for you in a little bit. The boys are working on that right now. Thank you, Maddie and YouTube Trev, for doing that. Back into the inbox we go. West End Rob says, gents, and you know what? We had the text earlier, like freaking out, but there's also the other side of the equation, so we need to give those some light as well. West End Rob says, gents, not a time to freak out yet. There's an ellipses in there, yet. Oilers will destroy Canucks on Saturday. Bouchard has looked awful all preseason and tonight also. If you can get an Ekholm equivalent on the right side for Bouchard, do you make that deal? West End Rob. There's a lot there. It's one game in. Defense did look terrible tonight as a whole. And then that, I think, filtered on to the rest of the team as well. But if you're Dave Manson, what's your strategy right now?
Well, it's one game, Tommy. We're being harsh, but I think it's deserved with that type of effort. We've seen Bouchard play. We've seen them all play a lot better. Let's face it. There wasn't an Edmonton Oilers defender that had a even close to a good game. Kulak had the great chance at the beginning and showing some speed down the left side and thinking, okay, well this is encouraging. But from that point on, there was a lot of struggle. And I think just watching the game and seeing how everyone was there, it did seem like there was a lack of communication between D partners. And is that because now they're playing with people that they're not too familiar with? Could be. Dustin Nielsen with the tweet of the night with Mr. Miyagi and Coach Woodcroft healing up Ekholm. But, yeah, you chalk this up to a very bad, terrible game. Show the video. Show them what they did wrong. They are going to come back stronger, hopefully. I'm sure. Saturday night is going to be a much bigger battle. The Edmonton Oilers are going to raise their battle level because the Canucks are for real, man. You're going to have to play them very physical, very tough if you want to defeat them because to me tonight they look like they played an honest game. Like it was physical. Mm-hmm. They took advantage of their chances, and they showed that if you don't bring a good quality game, you're probably not going to beat them.
Greg says via the nasty chat, pretty sure Canucks played man-on-man and tooled the Oilers, maybe tried to copy Vegas. Isn't the way for this team. The other thing, too, if you're implementing change to your style of play, defensive zone, neutral zone, offensive zone, even on the PK, we saw some changes in the preseason. It takes time.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of mistakes like we saw tonight.
Takes buy-in, too. Tommy, like everyone's got to buy into that system.
How much patience, though, after a night like tonight? Does that speed up the snap back to what we used to do, and then maybe we try to re-implement this?
I don't think you can. You have to stay the course with certain things because in the future that's what system you're going to have to implement to have success against possibly the teams you're going to go up against in the playoffs, right? So things are going to need to change that way. But look, everyone was a step behind tonight. From close to your guy, recognizing the play, most troubling thing for me tonight, Tommy, was the lack of physical play, like the unwillingness to. And I'm not talking about railroading guys and stuff, but just making it way more difficult for the opposition once they're in the hard areas of the game. And I've always been a fan of teams that have that boa constrictor attitude where they play a tight physical game, and any type of mistake ends up in an offensive chance for your team. And I think the Oilers are built more for that with their speed, their size. They're not a small team by any means, but I'd like to see them take advantage more of mistakes that the other team creates by their physical play. Right. And when the Oilers are playing that way, they're creating chances on the power play. The other team is making mistakes, and they're just feeding off that. And it's a tough way to play to do that. It takes everyone, but I think there's not going to be an easy game for the Oilers just because they're considered a Stanley Cup contender. They're going to get everyone's best effort throughout the whole season.
Tom Gazzola, Joaquin Gage with you. It is the Oil Stream post-game show right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. If you're listening, you can text us 780-218-9999. If you're watching on the EST YouTube channel, you can hit us up via the nasty chat. I've got one here from Nathan. I'm going to read off a few just to kind of get a gauge of for a lack of a better term. Yeah, temperature of where things are at tonight. Nathan says, whole team was garbage. End of story. Scrap the tape. Come out flying at home Saturday. If the same things happen Saturday, then we can start and worry. One game, over and done. On to the next. Let's go. I like that approach. I understand it. I'm sure we're going to hear a lot of that tomorrow after practice when we talk to the players. This one from Reginald says, Canucks last couple years were soft. Tocchet has infused this hard, relentless effort and style. Edmonton didn't come to play. Vancouver deserves credit in their lopsided victory from what they were last year, which was a skilled team that was discombobulated for a lot of reasons. What elements of their game did you notice about them where they were able to dictate the flow against the Oilers?
I think, what we heard today was from Ian McIntyre was Filthy Bruce. Basically, the Stars could do no wrong, right? So that's detrimental to a team when certain players on a team have carte blanche to make mistakes knowing that they're going to be out there on the next shift. It doesn't filter well through the whole lineup. And I think that from what we've heard and what we saw tonight, there is now that accountability throughout the Canucks lineup where you play a certain way, you're going to be up next shift. And I think that not only helps your bottom six forwards where they're fighting for ice time here and there, but now that your top end players are playing a certain way there, that they have to play a certain way to keep that ice time. So, I mean, looking at the Canucks, really, it was indistinguishable about which line was out there. They were all playing the same way. I think that's the Tocchet bump. It seems like they've got a coach now and a coaching staff which have a lot of experience. We saw that at the end, and I love to see that when you see a game get out of reach. You could see Tocchet, this isn't the time to rub this team's nose in it. We play these guys in a couple days. Mm-hmm. He sends out guys that wouldn't normally be on the power play at a certain point just to make sure that he's not poking the bear too much. So you can see the experience of these guys. And I mean, a guy like Miller and Pettersson and Besser, I think they're going to enjoy playing with Tocchet and take full advantage of it.
All right. Well said, Gager. Let's go into the inbox again. This one comes in, three-parter. The Oilers always fall flat in big games. What I mean is, have they won a game one in the McDavid/Dry era in the playoffs? Yes, they have. They won against Anaheim, and that was the last time they won a game one, so it's been a long time. The texter follows up with, it will be hard to be this bad again. I think they bounce back. Also, I think injuries are already playing a part. Kulak likely not 100%. McLeod just got back. So really 5 healthy D-men and 10 forwards. Need Ekholm back and need him with Bouchard. That's from Ranger Seamus. Some good points in there. Anything stand out to you, or do you want me to go to the next one?
No, I have nothing to really add to that. That's pretty standard for tonight.
Yeah. Nailed it. Another text comes in from Roscoe. Roscoe says, terrible game. This defense isn't good enough. Even with Ekholm, not even close. Nurse and Ceci doesn't look any better. They need to make massive changes on the blue line. Roscoe.
Wait, the last texter did say something like it's hard to be that bad. I think that was really good.
Yes.
It is hard to be that bad. Again, I don't foresee that happening until at least after Christmas again, possibly, Tommy.
You see another
maybe never again. That's with the types of goals that went into it was just a snowball of disappointment.
Snowball of disappointment. I like that. Well said. Yeg PJ says, missed the Viking Ekholm on D for sure. FYI, looking sharp, fellas. Haha. Hey, it is kind of nice. I like this. It's a nice touch.
It's professional.
Thank you to those saying that. We appreciate that very much. And it is because of Gager.
No.
It is because of you.
Yeah, I'm just following in your footsteps, Tommy.
Oh, boy. All right, let's go to this text. Says, guys, with all the negative things one could bring up about the game, I'm going to put a blindfold on to all of that and go positive and say the kid line looked pretty good. 81 more to go. Cheers from Brendan. So the kid line being McLeod, Holloway, Fogle. They had a few moments.
Yeah.
When Brendan brings that up, what did you see from them in a night where there was not a lot of good that you could go, okay, maybe there's something there?
They established a forecheck at certain points. They created a little bit of havoc. They weren't afraid to play physical. Too bad for Fogle. I think Demko got lucky on that one where he spit it out the other side there with a quick bang play. There definitely is something there with that line. But again, it would be nice to and especially in those types of games. And I mean, we're young into this season. It's ridiculous to say, but you want contributions from that when your stars maybe aren't performing at their top level. So unfortunate for Fogle not to get his first of the season, but I did see some good things with that line.
Okay, that unfortunately with the injury, we'll find out more. But that wasn't a good sign. Carmen says, anyone bringing out the scotch like me yet? Tom and Gager, you guys must have beers hiding under the desk.
I think they're around here somewhere, but we're professionals.
There's a beer fridge. We'll save that for later. Okay, we do have a bunch of audio and visuals to get to. It looked like, boys, YouTube Trev, you want to chime in? What do we have that popped up today?
Yeah, we've got Darnell Nurse lined up. We've got Connor McDavid. We've got Brett Kulak and the head coach, Jay Woodcroft.
Okay, so we have a lot to get to. Let's throw one out there. Can we throw one out there?
Of course. Any preferences?
Let's go Darnell Nurse.
Let's go Darnell. Let's see what Darnell has to say.
Describe that, Darnell, in your words.
No, simply just wasn't good enough throughout the full game. They brought a higher level of compete. Were able to convert on their chances that they had, so it's just not good enough from us.
Like the season opener, there's a lot kind of excitement going to the year. Like, how do you explain kind of the letdown, I guess, of a game like this?
Yeah, obviously you want to come out and be firing and get the win, and obviously not lose in that sort of fashion. And I said we weren't good enough out there, and they converted on their chances, made their plays, and we got to look back. We got to be a whole lot better on Saturday.
Nice to be able to play them again in a couple days, I imagine.
It was just nice to play again after one of those. You just want to play as fast as possible. So for us, we regroup, can be a lot better.
Sorry to interrupt. In your own zone, you guys looked like a team, I don't know, maybe trying to figure out a new system. You looked like you were thinking instead of just reacting. Is that a fair?
I mean, we've been playing the system for over a month now, so I think, you're still ironing out kinks, but I think we're all smart enough in this room to be able to adapt and play better like that in our own zone.
You feel like you missed Matthias Ekholm tonight.
Yeah, obviously he's a really good player, so anytime you have an important piece of your team out of the lineup, you're going to miss him.
It's just odd. Like, you guys are a good team. You play lots of good big games. No one's nervous. You play together for 8 preseason games, a long captain skate. You're a veteran team, and you come out and lay an egg like this. It's hard to explain. How do we explain it?
I don't know. That's for you to home, right? For us, I mean, like I said, we need to get back, regroup. No, this isn't our whole season. It's one game, but at the same time, we got to know that our game has to be a whole lot better if we want to win this league.
There was a lot made about Jack Campbell's performance in the preseason and all that, and just in front of him, it didn't seem like you guys gave him enough. Did you feel about that?
We didn't give him enough at all. We didn't give Skins enough either, so that's on us.
Okay, Darnell, let's go ahead. I know you're ready to say something. Go ahead.
No, look, it's a very vanilla interview. Let's say that, and you can see Darnell's not happy with the performance.
Sure, of course, naturally.
So you heard some of the questions. You're a veteran team. You're an experienced team. This is when it's the most important as a player is to recognize it, and it comes with wins and losses. You have to be able to look at the game objectively, recognize your poor play, but you also have to put it in the back burner after a while, right? So that's what I want to see most from in the next game from the Edmonton Oilers. The ability to have a bad game and come back with a good one. That's when I played, there was always a saying, good teams don't lose 2 in a row. And usually if you stick to that motto throughout the regular season, you're going to be a playoff team at some point. I'm sure there's going to be reflection, especially on this quiet plane ride home.
Yep.
But then you have to put it in the back and forget about it and look forward. And listening to Darnell Nurse right there, that shows me a guy that's very upset about his performance, his team's performance, talking about letting his goaltender down, but also can't wait to play the next game. You heard him say that. That's what you want to hear from your veteran leadership group is, okay, move on to the next one. We'll get the next one.
Unfortunately, these games are spaced out this month, actually all the way into December, so they'll have a couple of days to stew on it. They have to go through as we joked, the autograph session. Well, there's going to be comments tomorrow night at that thing. I think that's natural. Fan base here is passionate about the team.
It's always nice to get to sign that autograph, Tommy, and someone going, "What happened?" I'm sure that's what they're going to get. But again, this is the sign of a professional being able to say, you know what, wasn't great. We're gonna get him on Saturday night.
We go to Brad in the text line. Brad says, guys, natural stat trick had shots close to equal, scoring chances equal, high danger chances equal. I think this game was more about bad bounces and a few weak goals by the goaltenders, along with Demko making some excellent saves more than anything. It seemed that every bounce that could go Vancouver's way did. Gager, how many bad goals do you think Campbell allowed? That's from Brad. And we touched on it a little bit. Dip it into Skinner as well. Don't just leave it at Campbell, but Skinner as well, if you can recall all of them.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I recall Skinner being screened a lot in these ones. There was one glove save, I think the TJ Miller shot, I thought Skinner got a good look at and hit his glove.
Lightly, yeah.
That one, but at that point coming in, the game to me was already out of reach when Skinner came in. Again, I really don't fault Jack Campbell for a lot of those goals. Would you have liked to seen maybe him make that first save on the first goal? Yeah, because he did get a good chunk of it. But the rest, very tough saves to make. You have to be as lucky as Vancouver was with some of those goals, and that happens too.
The Besser one where Pettersson was making the pass. I think that summed up the night.
That encompasses the night.
Yes.
The guy was shooting the puck from the furthest point away from the net, and it still manages to find the back of the net. And you could see, like, Jack Campbell was anticipating the play across ice, right? So, I really don't put this on the goaltenders at all because it wasn't a difficult night for the Vancouver Canucks.
780-218-9999 if you're listening, and if you're watching on our Edmonton Sports Talk YouTube channel, you can join us in the Nasty Chat. I see some conversations within the Nasty Chat.
Oh, nice.
Saying how come nobody holds these guys accountable. Some people get mad when they're asked questions that the guys are uncomfortable with. So, again, at times, no middle ground here in oil country. This one from Greg says Connor Brown looked pretty good tonight. He has a lot more potential than Pool Party or Yamo. I think him being a veteran, 220-plus goal seasons, his penalty kill ability, that's the MO on him. Did you see some good from Connor Brown tonight?
Yeah, he had a couple chances during the game. Tenacious, but again, not enough. I saw more from Connor Brown in the exhibition season. Zach Hyman, that was, I have to say, probably one of the first games that I didn't even notice that he played. You know,
Fair point.
that's and that can't happen. He is a complete energy player. Things will get better. They're a much better team than what they showed tonight. Everyone, I think, in this city knows that. But got to iron these things out. You can't let this bleed into each one of your games. Things have to be shored up.
Evander Kane, any comment on him? He was a team low -4.
Again, yeah, just not enough, not engaged enough. The engagement came late when the game's out of reach and taking late penalties, but you want those players, Hyman, Brown, Kane, to be to initiate the physical activity, not retaliate because of it. You wanna create. Oh my gosh, I'm going up against that guy again. It's just not enough from your star players.
All right, we're gonna dip into the locker room if that's a thing that we can do. YouTube Trev is firing it up. Looks like we've got Connor McDavid queued up and ready to go. Let's hear from the captain after the Oilers fall 8-1 in Vancouver to open up the 23-24 regular season.
You get ready for the next one. That's what we're going to do. Obviously, like to learn from some of the breakdowns and get ready for the next one.
What do you think led to the primary struggle in your own zone tonight?
Lots. Lots of things went wrong.
Is it communication? Is it not being on the same page? What do you think is something that's correctable in that sense?
Go back to the drawing board and figure it out. Like I said, there's lots of lessons there for us. Sucks that this happens on the first game of the year. You know, these nights happen. Sucks that it's the first one, obviously. Looking forward to playing them again Saturday.
It's hard to, you guys had captain skates a month and a bit ago, and then you played preseason games in a long camp and look forward to this game for so long and come out and lay an egg. Like, I don't know how you explain that. I don't know. How do we explain it? How what happens?
Me neither. Obviously not sure how to explain that start to your season. We've had great starts. We've won the opener for the last however many years, and I guess maybe one there the COVID year. But we normally play well in this game, and obviously we didn't this year.
There's so much made about Jack Campbell's playing the preseason, him kind of getting things going, and it just didn't seem like there was a lot of help in front of him. Would you agree with that?
There wasn't. No, there wasn't a lot of help. I thought we hung both of our guys out to dry, and never what you want to do.
Yeah. Matthias Ekholm's obviously a big part of this team. Did you feel like you guys really missed him tonight? Was he a big reason or a reason for the struggles in your own zone tonight?
Ex great player, big part of our group. You miss lots of guys when they're not in your lineup, and he would obviously be one of them.
As captain of the team, how much you dwell on this, or do you just forget about it? Do you have to drive some points home from a night like this?
Well, like I said, like I said, I mean, we obviously want to learn from it. We want to see where things went wrong and learn from it, like I said, and get ready to go again. We play Saturday. Excited to play at home. Excited to play these guys again. Another opportunity to redeem ourselves.
Any problem or any thoughts on them rolling out PP1 in a 6-1 game in the third period?
They made a few decisions in the third period that I thought were interesting. Throwing the backup goalie in with 10 minutes left, I have not seen that. It's not like DeSmith is e-bug or anything like that, so I thought that was interesting. And anytime you roll out the first power play unit, not ideal, but not our never a situation we want to be in, and obviously we don't like that.
Okay, there's the captain, Connor McDavid. The video and audio coming to us courtesy Oilers TV. Thank you to them. Interesting. He pointed out a few things that stood out to him as odd. We talked about DeSmith coming in, flu bug situation possibly for Demko and Garland going off.
Well, if he came back and sat on the bench, I think maybe I would. That's a little bit odd but I think it was injury related or some type of sickness, because we saw Garland do the same thing, right? So went away for a sec. So I don't put too much into that. You always look for little things to to motivate you for the next, especially when you lose in that type of fashion. Maybe a little Michael Jordan-esque, trying to find the things that will
take it personally.
Yeah, that look, you need them after playing like that with an emotionless game. You got to find something that's going to get you fired up for this.
Yeah, absolutely. The late power play. You got something there?
Yes, I do.
YouTube Trev.
Rick Talkett says Thatcher Demko was pulled because he is battling the flu, was dehydrated, and threw up in his mask.
Ugh.
So,
Okay, well, see,
Thank you.
as
YouTube
per
Trev.
Elliot Friedman. So,
All right.
yeah, there had to be something wrong. You saw how he ran down the hall at that point. A goalie like Demko isn't going to leave a game where he's in the process of winning against the Edmonton Oilers unless something's really wrong.
Right.
And puking in your mask is definitely one of the issues that I'd probably leave the game
Have
for.
you done that before? Has it happened?
No, I've never, ever puked in a mask.
Are you being facetious or are you serious?
No, either I can't remember the time I did, but I don't. Sometimes I stunk up the place, but I didn't do that.
Joaquin Gage with me here, Tom Gazzola inside the EST studios. Gage are always good for a chuckle. The question about power play 1 when it was 6-1, and then we saw them roll out like a power play 3 after.
Yeah, so 6-1. They threw out for a bit, but I think from that point on, there was people that you didn't see. There were that 7-1. You didn't see it. So again, this is one of the instances I think that look, if it's 6-1, it's almost a compliment to the Edmonton Oilers at that point,
right?
Because they still think that the game's in reach. I think you didn't see it till 7-1, where it was different. So again, I think this is just a ploy by the captain to kind of light the fire with his teammates to make sure that Saturday night goes completely different.
We'll see if it takes on Saturday. Okay, one more text to get to, then we will go back inside the Oilers locker room in Vancouver. We're going to hear from Brett Kulak and head coach Jay Woodcroft. This text comes in from Mohammed, and he says, hey, do you guys foresee this turning into a repeat of 2017 when there was all that hype and they totally missed the playoffs? And I've seen some of that conversation in the nasty chat as well. Gager?
I thought about that too, Mohammed. I sometimes the Oilers had the poor starts when they had a summer of people talking about how good they were going to be, and coming into a season where maybe expectations weren't as high, that was maybe a little bit of a thorn in the side. So I think that affects a younger team a little bit more than where the Oilers are right now. This is a blip on the radar to me. This isn't going to progress into something worse. This will get nipped in the bud pretty quick. They're too talented. They're too experienced to let some of those outside influences affect them on the ice to that extent now.
Glenn says this is a much more mature team, kind of to your point, than what we saw in 2017. They will be fine. All right, we're going to go back to Vancouver one more time. We're going to go inside the locker room. Looks like YouTube Trev has Brett Kulak and then Jay Woodcroft teed up and ready to rock. And let's go to Vancouver now and hear from the Oilers following their 8-1 loss.
You've been looking forward to playing this opener for a long time, and everybody's not that good. What happens?
Yeah, it's a big gut punch for sure, and there's not much you can say about it. It's just, we got to focus, get ready for practice tomorrow, and be ready for the team Saturday, and that's about all you can do now.
You guys have been together for a long time here, like captain skates were early, and camp was long, and 8 preseason games, and you looked like a team that was somehow not ready to play. I don't know how you could be not ready to play in this game, but from upstairs you look like a team that wasn't ready to play. Is that fair?
Yeah. I don't know if that's fair. I think everyone's ready to play. We're eager to play game 1, and everyone's in here preparing and excited to go, and it comes out, and that was the outcome that happened, and we would like to restart the clock and start the game over, that's for sure, but the reality is we can't do that, and we got to move on to game 2.
Seemingly a lot of missed coverages. How much of that was on kind of the new system you guys are trying to play, and how much of that is just on guys in general and missing assignments?
Yeah, I think
Vancouver did a good job. They played fast. They got in behind us. But yeah, it's on us. We need to play our structure and play sound and be stronger and keep the puck to the outside and eliminate the dangerous scoring chances. And we didn't do that tonight.
First real game you guys have played without Matthias Ekholm since he was acquired. How did that change? Do you think the setup or the makeup of your defense corps tonight?
He's obviously a great player and a valuable piece of the team, and you miss him a lot when it happens. It's you don't rely on one guy to carry you all the time, and that's for sure. But it'll be nice to have him back.
Brett, how much do you dissect a game like this, or do you just kind of park it and move on?
Yeah, I think with how the turnout was, it was so drastic. You got to park that and move on, and everyone's upset about it, obviously, and if anything, you take it, and I think it woke everyone up.
How did you feel personally having missed the back half of the preseason schedule?
I felt good. Legs were there, and we've been skating hard and preparing like we should do, and we were happy with our preparation. And yeah, it was a strange game tonight, and we're not happy about it.
Did the Canucks come out stronger than you thought, maybe?
No, it's the NHL. Every team is prepared and ready to go and aiming to be at their best. So we know what team they are. They're a skilled, fast team, and they made us pay tonight.
Jay,
Not good enough.
you practice these guys. You have a long camp. They have a long cap to skate. You play 8 preseason games and come out with a game that it looks like they just met each other in the parking lot.
Yeah.
How do you figure that?
Yeah, I mean, it's not good enough. We laid an egg tonight. We all own it. We're all in this one together. And the bottom line is we were at a preseason level of work ethic and a preseason level of execution, all of us. And we got a lesson in regular season work ethic and regular season battle level. And we were not good enough tonight. To a man, every single one of us, not good enough.
Work ethic is the thing that you come too much. Anything tactically that may have been an issue for you?
Well, I mean, I saw us lose a ton of battles. Things that normally are hallmarks of our game did not show up. As I said, I thought it was a preseason level of intensity, preseason level of execution, nowhere near where you need to be in order to win a hockey game in the regular season in the National Hockey League.
Can you explain the reason for the pull tonight? I mean,
No,
obviously
to a man, none of us were good. So, you're talking about pulling the goaltender. I mean, we're at that stage, and we're trying to stem the tide a little bit, change momentum. In the end, it didn't work. We didn't get much better as the game wore on. We moved pieces around, all that kind of stuff. In the end, all of us, not good enough.
Talked a lot about the importance of Matthias Ekholm since he came in. His first real game that you've gamed for the counted, that he wasn't in your lineup. I mean, how much of that was him not being there, the result tonight?
Well, I mean, he hasn't been here all training camp, so him not being in the lineup had nothing to do with our level of execution or us losing the amount of battles that we lost. Is he a good hockey player? He's a great hockey player, and he's a big part of our D-core. He's getting better. We missed him tonight, but him not being in the lineup had nothing to do with what we just witnessed. I think all of us take accountability for it. We laid an egg, not good enough.
For a team like yours, there's a lot of Stanley Cup talk around your team outside your room, not inside, outside your room. Can a game like this be a good coaching tool?
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. You know what? In the end, like I said, there's a lot of things wrong with what we just saw out there. You saw it, our players saw it, the coaches saw it, our manager saw it. Not good enough. Not good enough. And we have better. We know it. We laid an egg. We get a chance to work at our game and get another crack at this team on Saturday.
Any update on Dylan Holloway? Left at the very end.
No, I haven't seen him after the game. I haven't talked to the trainers yet. But, I thought that was, for a young player to put his body on the line, that's the type of commitment that you need. And I thought that was a positive play on his behalf.
Welcome back to Edmonton Sports Talk. I'm Joaquin Gage without Tom Gazzola. Tom's doing an interview right now. So let's get into Coach Woodcroft, what he said. Basically all the right things. things. They know they laid an egg. I mean, I haven't heard someone say laid an egg this much since I worked on the farm, which I never did. But they know they have better. And talking about looking at the game tape, what can they take out of this game and what are the teaching moments? Preparation, for one thing. It is difficult to get up for every single game. You want them to get up for game one for sure. But I like what Coach Woodcroft had to say about just taking some of the things out of this game, putting it behind, knowing that they have better. I think everyone does know that, and moving forward to Saturday and getting another opportunity to go up against the Vancouver Canucks and show them the true Edmonton Oilers.
Gager, thank you for stepping in for me while I had to step out. I appreciate it.
It wasn't too bad. You might get fired here, Tommy. I don't know.
All right, 780-218-9999 if you want to get some last-minute texts in. The nasty chat continues to go on as well. I'll take a look at what's going on in there. We also have to get to the first star of the game, brought to you by Damon Bunting Remax Elite. And Gager, I will let you think about it as I do the liner for Damon Bunting Remax Elite and see if you could pick out the best player of the game. Listen, today it doesn't have to be an Oiler. Usually we just do an Oiler, but I feel like we could go a completely different route and have a few different good options. But the player of the game brought to you by Damon Bunting Remax Elite. Damon Bunting is a consistent top-producing realtor in Greater Edmonton and among Remax realtors. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Community-driven, he understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out on DamonBunting.com or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Without further ado, Joaquin Gage.
Well, I think I'm going to be a little bit different than what most people think, but Elias Pettersson. I mean,
no Besser.
No Besser. If you look at all the goals, those don't happen without great plays from Pettersson. And I loved the fact that he just railroaded CC in that one play. Great goals, great shot, was a threat all night, responsible play, just a whale of a player. You know, going into the season, betting on himself, essentially looking for that huge payday. And if this game is any indication of how he's going to play throughout the rest of the year, man, there is going to be a big dollar number beside that contract.
Elias Pettersson, the player of the game, brought to you by Damon Bunting Remax Elite. Let's get into a couple of texts to wrap things up for tonight. A big thank you to everyone who tuned in for our real first pre and post of the year. I know we did one a couple weeks ago. You've been filling in for Cass. Admirable job. We only did the pregame the other night against the Seattle Kraken, but the numbers look good. People are chiming in. They're pissed off, and understandably so. This text comes in and says, forget asking if Bush and Nurse works. Start with asking if Bush works, period. A big weakness he has is he shies away from physical contact. If fans see it, the opposition can definitely see it. But you've talked about it. There's times where he's not shy.
Yeah, he does. There's certain instances where he does get a little bit of a mean on and plays that physical style and recognizes better defensive play in those types of situations. He has a nonchalance to him sometimes when he plays, Tommy, that I think gets it does not look good when he misses his assignment, especially on that eighth goal. Just seem clueless and not knowing anything, just where he is and where his mark is. So, but again, we've seen him bring his level of defense up. Maybe it is because of Ekholm. I'm looking forward to seeing that sooner rather than later. To be honest, Tommy, I from what I saw with Nurse and Bouchard, I know it's a bad game, but it just looked like two guys that had never played with each other in this system, and there were a lot of problems.
There were some definite blips tonight for those guys. Evan Bouchard guilty as well. Okay, couple of nasty chats to get to, and I see some Canucks fans have infiltrated. Oh, I've got a good one for them. Glenn says, thanks, boys. Your post-game show, best part of the night. Glenn, thanks for tuning in. Always appreciate it, my friend. Reginald says, Gager speaking facts. Peterson, the facilitator, it all goes through him. Or Pedersen, pardon me. It did come out as Peterson on there. And I had to correct myself. And then this one, here's where the Vancouver fans come in. But I got a little plot twist for them. Ty says, wearing a leather jacket with a shirt and tie. Ha ha. How can you tell he's from Edmonton? Guess what, Ty? He's from Kitsilano. Joke's on you.
Grew up in the mean streets.
There you go.
This is the standard attire back in the 80s.
Joaquin Gage, an absolute treat as always. Fantastic work. We're going to be able to see you on the Sportsnet broadcast, and then we're going to see and hear from you here on the Oil Stream pre- and post-game show when Matty Cassian isn't available, and we'll also be hearing and seeing Sean Bell, too. It's a team effort, as always. Fantastic work, my friend. Huge thank you to YouTube, Trev, and Matthew Owanek. Owanek is putting in the hours, and I think he's got to be up pretty early, so we got to get out of here. He needs to get some rest. Owanek, is this the first night in the studio where you're sleeping in the... There you go. He's going to be up for the Nielsen show tomorrow at 6 a.m., Be sure to tune in, and with that being said, smash that thumbs up button, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. As always, an honor and a pleasure to be back for another season of Oilers hockey, this time right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. For Gager, YouTube, Trev, Matty Owanek, I'm Tom Gazzola saying have yourselves a fantastic night. We'll talk to you tomorrow.